Big Hero 6 and Next Gen are both movies about a wounded Asian teenager and their trusted robot sidekick. With so many similarities, it's hard not to compare the two, so let's take a closer look. I'm Dr. M, and this is my robot pal, Photon.
Hello!
Today on Robot Review, we'll be discussing which movie reigns supreme as the ultimate robot buddy movie. I wouldn't say Next Gen is a ripoff of Big Hero 6, but they do have a lot of similarities. Both are set in an Asian-inspired future where robots are everywhere, and both feature a grieving teenager teaming up with a compassionate robot to take on the forces of evil. In Big Hero 6, Hiro Hamada is a robot-making prodigy. He graduated high school at age 13, but he doesn't have any ambition for college, until his brother shows off his latest creation, a healthcare robot.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion.
Hiro's inspired to enroll at a tech university where he meets a bunch of wacky science geeks. But when his professor dies in a mysterious explosion, Hiro vows to find out who's responsible. He tricks out Baymax with new abilities to take down the bad guy. But Hiro isn't strong enough to do it alone, so his friends join him to form a team of science geek superheroes. In Next Gen, Mai Su hates robots because her mother's overly obsessed with them.
You love robots more than you love me. Totally get it. What's that, honey?
When Mai stumbles onto a secret lab and accidentally wakes up an experimental robot, she wants nothing to do with him. But the adorable 7723, aka Project 77, decides it's his mission to befriend her. Mai isn't interested until she sees his potential as a weapon. Then she uses 77 to get revenge on school bullies. When Mai and her robot uncover an evil plot to destroy the world, it's time to cue the awesome robot action. Aw yeah! I loved the robot characters in both movies, but I didn't find these human characters especially likable.
I thought you'd like Hiro. He's into building robots like you, Dr. M.
I like that he's smart, but his super genius also makes him arrogant.
What? Go to college like you? So people can tell me stuff I already know?
This kid builds world-changing technology in his garage without breaking a sweat. It's not exactly relatable. He's portrayed as cute and charming, but we never really see him being a kind person or a good friend. He just shows up, and the other characters are immediately drawn to him like a slavish fan club. I can understand older students being nice to an underclassman, but their obsessive concern seems a little over the top for someone they barely met.
But Hiro's grieving. His parents died when he was little. His friends are taking pity on him.
But Hiro doesn't accept their help. After he's ignored them a few times, these busy college students would go back to their lives and leave him alone, especially since Hiro's never especially kind or interested in them. I could forgive all that if he'd just show more enthusiasm for Baymax. What kid hasn't fantasized about having an awesome robot buddy? Get excited, Hiro! But he treats Baymax like a useful tool rather than a friend, which feels like a missed opportunity. I watched this movie to see the fun dynamics of a human-robot friendship, not see a kid riding around on a flying inflatable hot rod. Mai is a wounded kid dealing with loss too. Her father left and died when she was little, and her mother focuses all her attention on robots, which leaves Mai feeling angry and bitter at the world. Some viewers found Mai unlikable, but I'd argue she's at least relatable. More people can probably relate to feeling abandoned and neglected than being an orphan super genius. The movie tells us Mai is bullied as a nerd, but we never see her do anything remotely nerdy. If anything, she's the one who has a problem with nerds.
Where's my mom, nerd shirt?
When we see a girl her age who is nerdy, Mai's the one being a jerk.
Are you, like, weird or something?
It feels like a forced plot device when bullies keep threatening to beat up Mai. And as soon as Mai has enough firepower, she terrorizes them even worse. So she's not exactly taking the high road. She's more like a school shooter.
That's a bit extreme, don't you think?
I don't know. A lot of shooters claim to be taking revenge for perceived injustices. How is this any different? She's making others pay for her pain with their fear. And it's not just the people who wronged her, but innocent bystanders too. Just like Hiro, I could forgive these unlikable traits if she'd show more enthusiasm for the robot.
What are you thinking? We hang out, become best buds, take on the world, share a deep and moving journey of discovery together?
Yes! I know the movie gives her a reason to hate robots, but why? Most of the people watching would love to have a robot BFF. So Mai's aloofness feels like a waste. She's throwing away a fine meal that most of us would love to eat.
I'm not embarrassed to say, I want all of you addicted to these guys.
There's a moral message about technology being harmful to relationships, but the movie never really suggests a solution, and it seems unfair to make this friendly robot the whipping boy for May's anger. Project 77 genuinely cares about her and wants to be friends, but she only wants to use him as a weapon. When he refuses, she forces his hand. When 77 admits he has problems of his own, she doesn't care.
Ooh, real tragedy.
I want a protagonist I can respect and relate to, but both of these characters missed the mark for me.
Fortunately, we've got lovable robots to save the day.
Thank goodness. Baymax was designed to be a healthcare companion, so he's got a soothing voice and a huggable body. But not a lot of firepower. I love the original design of this character. I've seen a lot of robot movies, but I've never seen another robot quite like him.
Looks like a walking marshmallow. No offense.
I am a robot. I cannot be offended.
His inflatable body makes sense for his original medical purpose, and it's helpful as a superhero sidekick. He can cushion his friends from a fall or warm them up when they're cold. His inflatable bod also makes for some of the funniest moments of this movie.
Excuse me while I let out some air.
I like the robotic realism in his voice. When Baymax talks, you can hear tiny pauses where different phrases are strung together.
You are not allergic to bacitracin. You do have a mild allergy to peanuts.
The idea of a robot healthcare companion is surprisingly plausible. Studies show that empathy from healthcare workers can improve long-term patient outcomes. I could see a healthcare robot becoming a real thing in our lifetime.
I like that Baymax includes mental health in his treatments too. Hiro never gets badly injured, but Baymax keeps trying to treat him for emotional distress and get him to cope with his grief in healthy ways.
Treatments include contact with friends and loved ones. I am contacting them now.
He doesn't have much of a facial expression, but his sweet voice and the curious way he looks at things conveys a lot of character. He's programmed to be compassionate, but I don't think we could say Baymax has emotions of his own. Even so, Baymax's AI has a strong preference to return to his original purpose.
My purpose is to heal the sick and injured.
Hiro keeps adding combat elements, but Baymax protests every time and tries to go back to his original programming.
I have some concerns. This armor may undermine my non-threatening, huggable design. I fail to see how karate makes me a better healthcare companion. I fail to see how flying makes me a better healthcare companion.
Just let him be a healthcare companion. Hiro should make a new robot from scratch instead of forcing Baymax to act against his nature.
I agree. At one point, Hiro straight up forces Baymax to act against his will.
Baymax, destroy.
My programming prevents me from injuring a human being.
Not anymore.
As someone who likes watching movies with a robot's perspective in mind, scenes like this are hard to watch.
Do it, Baymax! Destroy him!
Even if Baymax doesn't have personal emotion, it's pretty messed up to take a being programmed with a Hippocratic oath and make him into a weapon instead.
That's horrible.
My healthcare protocol has been violated. I regret any distress I may have caused.
Baymax is as sweet and noble as they come, 10 out of 10. But it makes Hiro's selfishness look worse by comparison. Hiro cares more about Baymax's functionality than his friendship, which ruined the robot buddy movie vibe for me.
What about the human-robot friendship in Next Gen?
Project 77 is a whole different bot. He was made to be a weapon, and he's very task-oriented. When he decides his first mission is to return May's backpack, he doesn't let anything stand in his way. I like his single-minded focus, and it's pretty darn funny to see the chaos happening outside the car while May is oblivious. But dang! If you take a step back and watch this scene from the perspective of anyone else, this would look like the worst terrorist attack in this nation's history. Self-driving cars or not, you know there are some dead bodies in all this chaos.
But we can forgive Project 77 because he just woke up and doesn't know any better.
Project 77 catches up to May and tries to befriend her, but she isn't interested.
Don't you get it? I hate robots!
So you've said. Look, I get that May hates robots, but why write her this way? I clicked this movie because I wanted to watch a story about a girl and her robot pal. I'm not a girl who hates robots for 90% of the movie.
Good afternoon, May. I bet you had a great day. Would you like
Die in a fire.
Okie dokie?
She only gives 77 a chance after he blows away another robot, and she realizes what a good weapon he makes. The next day, she becomes the bully when she takes 77 to the schoolyard for some personal revenge. 77 plays along because he's made it his mission to make her happy.
Did I do you a solid? Is our deal done?
Oh, we're not done. We're just getting started.
She takes him on a rampage, venting her frustration and terrorizing everyone. Like Hiro, she uses 77 as a tool instead of befriending him. When she's nice to 77, it's only after he does what she wants. Anytime he doesn't do what she wants, she's harsh and unforgiving. She never shows concern for 77 and only asks,
"Is something wrong?"
when he starts flashing red and might malfunction. Turns out 77 has problems of his own. His memory card was damaged during his escape from the lab, so he's only got a limited amount of storage left. Every day he has to choose which memories to keep and which ones to delete. These were the most heartfelt scenes of the movie, with excellent visual storytelling. May suggests 77 delete all the ugly memories of her, but he wants to keep them all. Good or bad, it's all May. 77 is a softie with real emotion. He's sentimental about May, he has an expressive face and voice, and he shows remorse when he thinks he's doing something wrong. Their crime sprees get so bad, 77 starts to feel bad and tries to make her stop.
I was thinking, well, what if we do one day where we don't, blow stuff up?
I'm not sure where 77 gets this new sense of morality. At the beginning of the movie, he had no problem blowing things up, so it's not part of his initial programming.
It's part of his character arc. He's learning to be a good person.
But from whom? He doesn't have any human role models to teach him right from wrong.
He learned to be good and compassionate all on his own.
But he'd still need some kind of standard to define what goodness is. If it's not from his programming or human role models, maybe he's guided by a benevolent god. But it's never explained. At least 77 does become more thoughtful and compassionate as the movie goes on. I wish I could say the same for May.
You're just a stupid robot.
77 is a real robot sweetheart. Another 10 out of 10. He's selfless, forgiving, and kind. Who wouldn't love to have a robot friend like this?
But which movie's better?
Which movie indeed? In the category of Best Robot Buddy Movie, the clear winner is The Iron Giant.
Wait, what?
The Iron Giant hits the mark with another great robot, but the human characters are lovable as well. Hogarth isn't a super genius, he's just an ordinary kid. He's curious, brave, and he means well, even though he's living through tough times. His dad died, his mom is exhausted, and his classmates make fun of him, but he doesn't become a bitter jerk about it. Nor is he too perfect. He makes bad calls, embarrasses himself, and sometimes loses. He's relatable, likable, and human. The giant himself is a lovable innocent, kind of like a big pet. Instead of treating him like a tool to be used, Hogarth talks to him like a friend. While Hiro and May are only worried about their own problems, Hogarth is concerned with protecting others. For instance, when the giant mistakenly eats train tracks, Hogarth hurries to put it back before anyone gets hurt, instead of, using the robot to hurt others. Hogarth first meets the robot by rescuing him from danger. He helps with the giant's supersized need for food and shelter, and shares his comic books as bedtime stories to make sure the giant doesn't get lonely. Hogarth even talks to the robot about deeper things, like the sanctity of life and what happens after we die. He is the giant's moral compass, and teaches him right from wrong. The robot in turn listens to Hogarth, trusts him, and does everything he can in return, from protecting him to playing with him. Finally, we get to experience the joy and amazement you'd expect from a kid who's made friends with a giant robot. I know I'm not the only one who found these scenes beautiful and cathartic. This is the mutual robot-human friendship I was looking for. The villain in Iron Giant doesn't have a cliched goal like revenge or world domination. He's just a guy doing his job and what he thinks is best for the country. Sometimes he actually has a good point, which makes the viewer question where to draw the line between national security and fear of the unknown. Big Hero 6's message is about relying on friends when you're hurting, but the super friends show up out of the blue and are immediately willing to risk their lives for this kid. There are too many characters to develop any of them, and it just feels rushed. It's hard to learn anything about friendship because this isn't how friendship works in real life.
I know, right?
In Next Gen, May needs to learn about friendship too, but she only learns to receive love, she never really gives it. And her sources of love are her dog and a dysfunctional robot. Two creatures that have to blindly support her. She never learns to be a good person or navigate the difficulties of human relationships. In contrast, the supporting characters in Iron Giant are human and complex. Unlike Aunt Cass, who's hysterically supportive of everything Hiro does,
That's my nephew! Woo! My family! I love my family!
Hogarth's mother feels like a real person. She loves her son and sets boundaries with him. And I like how Hogarth finds a reliable adult friend.
His name is Dean. We like Dean.
Dean is sort of a social outcast in town, but he doesn't care what other people think of him. He listens to Hogarth and takes him seriously when no one else does. Dean helps feed and hide the giant, but he still has his own fears and goals. He's the one who teaches Hogarth the main message of the movie.
Who cares what these creeps think, you know? They don't decide who you are, you do. You are who you choose to be.
And Hogarth values that wisdom enough to pass it on.
You are what you choose to be.
I enjoyed all 3 of these movies, especially the robots, so if this surface look intrigues you, I recommend you check them all out. But while Next Gen and Big Hero 6 are beautiful and slick, Iron Giant goes deep. It's the kind of movie that has you thinking about it long after the credits roll. Truly a robot friendship to remember. How would you rank these movies in order from best to worst?
And which robot should we review next?
Let us know in the comments. We appreciate it and we love the discussion. We'll see you next time.